Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. This week on our discussion show, which I'm trying to turn into a regular thing, so if you ever have a topic, let us know down below. Disney Plus just quietly erased Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from Marvel canon.
Yeah.
So
put it in the Legends category.
Yep, so all the shows not made by MCU Disney Plus initiative have now been shuffled over to the Legacy category, Legends category.
Yeah.
Of the shows, which we don't know definitively if it means that they are officially not canon anymore. I didn't finish watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but from what I understand, it could very easily, because of time travel weirdness in the last season, be removed with no problem.
Right.
So what that got me wondering is, if all the old shows are being removed from canon, just to be shuffled off and be like, look, we didn't have control over these. We're going to do our own MCU canon shows. What ones did we end up missing? What did we enjoy? What didn't we enjoy, Sal? So the TV show initiative that a lot of you don't know was kicked off by ABC. And it featured 3 shows right at the beginning. And those were Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which went on for 7 seasons, of which I watched the first 3, and then Ghost Rider. And that was it.
Yes. I think I watched 6. The last season I was like, I can't anymore. I just can't.
I watched the first 3, but they wouldn't give up on the Inhumans, but they also wouldn't reveal the Inhumans. And I was just getting so done with that.
Yeah.
Like, they were dragging out that Inhuman plot for so long. We found the Royal City, but it's abandoned. I'm like, oh my God, just show me Black Bolt.
Yeah, that was me too. I'm like, are you serious? Come on. Because when they launched it, they were like, it's all connected.
Yeah, that's
immediately Jeff Loeb's like, shut up.
And it was initially, because wasn't Samuel L. Jackson in the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Samuel L. Jackson was at the end of maybe the first episode, maybe the last season episode, but like he's in at least 2 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Sif is in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep.
They reference Strucker. They have a scene where they launch
reference Winter Soldier, the Hydra breakout. Like that's a whole season.
Yep, they call the Avengers to go take down Strucker at the beginning of Age of Ultron. They reference Ultron. There's a lot of references.
Yeah,
it's mostly
and they were
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
directly tied together for the longest time, which I find weird that they're just going to remove Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of unceremoniously.
Yeah,
like this.
Yeah, well, and I think the reason is just because they're like, it's just too much. There's too much show. There's too much varying in quality. They did too much and introduced too many things that we would have to pay attention to. It's just simple house cleaning. For them, they're like, because the Absorbing Man shows up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep, he does.
He looks pretty good, but he's not a movie actor. And if we ever want to use Absorbing Man, we're never going to call that
Ghost
guy.
Rider.
Or Ghost Rider.
We saw the writing on the wall with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. being removed way back when they were talking about doing a new Ghost Rider thing without referencing the original Ghost Rider appearance.
Yes, and the guy who played Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was going to be in the Hulu show as Ghost Rider.
Which
so it was
wouldn't
like this weird
reference
thing.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was going to be weird.
Yes.
So I agree with you on that one. It's almost like what they did with the Star Wars Legacy, where they're just like, you know what, the expansion universe is way too much.
Yep.
We're just calling
I don't want to have to learn all this. Just throw it away.
Yeah, just throw it away. I don't want to have to keep track of all this and constantly get yelled at. We're just going to throw it out. And I feel like that's what they did.
And we don't want to have to pay royalties. We don't have to pay or deal with anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Rather, we could make so much more money if we just redo all the same stuff. And it's the same deal here.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like they initially, when the MCU was not as big and such a hot property as it has become, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started in 2013. It was right after the initial Avengers movie, and there was no Disney Plus plan. There was no location to make their own shows. You weren't getting movie actors into the show. That wasn't happening. So it was a different landscape when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came out, and Agent Carter.
Yes,
it was a
great show.
It was a totally different landscape for both those shows to come out and be what they were. And I think you're right. I think they're just like, we don't want to deal with them anymore. Let's just get rid of them. We have a new initiative, a new way to do this, and it's going to be great.
Yes, although I will say this. I think Agent Carter is 100% canon.
But the problem is that that one could be easily put in and removed, no problem. Or they could both be the alternate Steve Rogers timeline.
Right. Because here's my thing. They put the guy who played Jarvis in Agent Carter in Endgame.
Okay.
So I'm thinking at least... And the thing is, Agent Carter, it's short, it's simple, It's straightforward. The only thing you got to deal with is Madame Mask, and I don't think they have plans for Madame Mask anytime soon. So, like, outside of that, there's not a really big, expansive universe that they need to deal with or explain.
Right.
So for them, I think they're good with Agent Carter, but it is still shunted into that universe or into that category of legends or whatever. So, yeah.
But I also thought it'd be fun to look at the other shows and kind of, because we didn't watch all of these. Some of these we did. Some of them we caught portions of and didn't like it. I just thought it'd be fun to go through this list here.
Yeah.
Inhumans, Sal. That got so blasted before it even came out.
Yes.
And it also took years to finally come out, which made no sense. And it appeared like it wasn't going to link to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., even though they just did 4 seasons of Inhumans.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
I don't know what happened with that. Because, look, everyone jokes about the Inhumans, but they're not a terrible group of superheroes. Like, Black Bolt and Medusa are great. I think they're okay. They fit into the not MCU, but they fit in Marvel.
The Marvel universe. They do. Oh no, I think they're great representations of Marvel, and I appreciate their existence. Let's just hate them, and I find them uninteresting. Black Bolt, Medusa, they're the only ones I find interesting. And I guess
I agree with
Kamala, but I don't think Kamala's going to be an Inhuman at the end of this.
I have a weird feeling she's going to get lumped into the mutants now. She's like officially going to become a mutant. She's going to become one because we've heard nothing about how the Inhuman plot is going to tie into her.
No, we got nothing. It went from being a big deal. Inhumans went from being a movie to being a horrible TV show.
Yeah, because wasn't Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. building up to that movie? That was the whole point. Because
I would assume.
Yeah, because when we were talking about it initially, it was like, oh yeah, no, they're not going to put Black Bolt and Medusa in there. That's for the movie. They're building up to the movie, so we're going to get all the other Inhumans, and they're terrible.
Yeah. And then they went, oh, no, we're not going to do that.
So I feel like that whole ABC initiative of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, and Inhumans, I feel like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter are kind of like casualties of war.
Yes.
Of them just across the board removing everything that they want to remove.
Yep, they're like, I'm sorry. And you know what? 7 seasons, that's a lot. Like, that's a successful show. That's something we need to be able to be proud of. But it's the one guy who's behind all that. We don't want to be associated with him anymore.
Yep.
And you know what? We really don't want to have to watch it all. Like, I think that's honestly what it is.
We don't want to watch it.
It's already so many movies I gotta watch, and I gotta watch this show too. No. Especially because, like, sometimes that show looks really terrible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was still a budget on it.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, moving on. We have the elephant in the room that everyone wants, that they own again, the Netflix series, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Defenders, and Punisher. Yeah. I won't lie, I've seen bits and pieces. I saw Jessica Jones 1 and 2, did not see 3. I saw Daredevil 1 and 2, did not see 3. I saw Luke Cage 1 and 2. I saw Iron Fist 3 episodes and stopped. I watched 1 episode of The Defenders and got bored. And I watched Punisher season 1. Like, I didn't finish any of these series.
Yeah.
Because I just felt like they were being dragged out, and it just wasn't. I mean, I know there's a huge fan base for that whole thing, the Netflix universe, but I just never got super into them.
No.
But it also looks like they're removing him because they're bringing Charlie Cox over to Far From Home, if any of the rumors are to be believed.
Right.
Which I guess allows them to reuse some of these actors and, move them up into the movies. And do you think they're going to keep these in canon? Because just like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they very lightly reference things.
Yeah, the fact is, they don't have to. I bet they do. Like, I bet they can't. I bet they throw them out. But they really don't need to. Because for some reason, those movies were very tenuous. Those shows were very tenuously connected to the MCU. And they only really reference Avengers 1. So you could say that pretty much Netflix Marvel took place between Avengers 1 and Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really affect anything. It doesn't hurt anybody. And you're not going to go make a Jessica Jones movie. You're not going to make a Luke Cage movie. I wish you would, but you're not going to. And all the actors who play those characters, they're all movie stars and TV stars. So it all works.
Yeah.
And they already, here's the thing. I can imagine Disney being like, there's a lot of controversy surrounding the idea of making like a Jessica Jones show or a Punisher show. Listen, those shows are already made. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to take, you can reap the benefits of the world building that the show's provided and get the actors who everyone likes, but you don't have to do it. You don't have to take on any of the controversy because, well, those shows were already made. They were made for different people. I didn't make those shows. You know what I mean? So like, I think that's a win-win if you kept those shows. Only problem is Iron Fist and Defenders, because Defenders is so contingent on Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Because Iron Fist is so terrible. And you need... The biggest problem is Iron Fist is so terrible, but it's so insulting to say, we're going to keep literally everybody but you.
I know, seriously.
But I mean, like, but you're terrible. Like, you're objectively a bad show. You're not a very good actor. It's time for you to go. Especially because, like, we got the Shang-Chi movie coming out. We could very easily, hand-wavily, introduce Danny Rand to that movie.
I wouldn't doubt we get a mention of him.
Right?
Like,
And,
I think this is their way of being like, well, now we have control of the actors and everything that's happening. So
Yes.
if we just reintroduce Charlie Cox as Daredevil,
Right.
and we just never directly reference that it's not in
The show.
canon, but
Yeah.
Disney Plus has it in Legacy, we can just you can pick or choose if you want that to be his history.
I think
We
that's
don't care.
exactly their plan. I think that exactly. Like, if they were ever going to put Kingpin in, they'll call Vincent D'Onofrio. If they do Punisher, they'll probably call John Bernthal. Outside of that, like, if Jessica Jones shows up, she'll probably be Kristen Ritter. Like, I want them to call, I can't remember his name, but the dude who played Luke Cage, he's so good.
He was.
And Luke Cage is so
out of
important.
all those shows, Luke Cage is my favorite. Jessica Jones is the second. I actually, apparently, no one agrees with me, but I found Daredevil to be my third favorite, with Iron Fist just being the hand waviness. I liked Punisher, but at the same time, Punisher just it never inherently works in Marvel for me. I don't ever consider Punisher a Marvel character. I consider it like how Marvel's trying to put Conan into the Marvel universe right now.
Right.
Like, Conan doesn't work, and I get what you're doing. Punisher for me has never functioned as a Marvel character, but when you look at it as a separate entity, he's great.
Yeah.
A guy that just runs around shooting everyone.
Right.
That doesn't work with Captain America. Like,
right. I happen to love Punisher in the Marvel universe, but I also prefer Punisher Max, where he's not in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
By the way, Mike Coulter plays Luke Cage. I want him to be in the MCU so bad.
He was so good at the role. So good at the
I
role.
know. So
and we
good. He's
never
a real
got to see
actor.
we never got to see like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones like moving forward in that relationship. I don't know how much of it was in Defenders, but like
It was not.
Okay, so we didn't
was
get
not
it.
in there.
So I'm not wrong that we didn't get it properly.
I mean, like, they reference it. Like, they reference it, but they never get back together, and there's never like a thing. Like,
Okay. Yeah, we need that relationship. We need that.
I agree. But I think what you're saying is absolutely right. They're just gonna be like, they're gonna pick and choose, and they're just gonna be like, whatever was the most popular. What was the most popular show? Daredevil? Okay, that's the one we're gonna save spiritually by hiring random actors from the show. Outside of that, it's all bets are off.
So, okay, moving on to our next one, we have the attempts at 2 young adult series. One was on Hulu and one was on Freeform. Now, I did not watch either of these.
Neither did I.
Runaways,
I've seen scenes from them.
Runaways. I saw the first episode of that, and I'm like, not for me. Not for me at all.
Yes.
It was like they go see the family, and there's like, they're in a secret cult, and I'm like, this is Riverdale.
Well, that is also Runaways. That is straight up Runaways before Riverdale. Trust me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then Cloak and Dagger, I actually didn't even know the show kept going. It came out. So why do you think? Because honestly, I didn't hear anything about either of these for the most part. Did you?
I heard nothing about Runaways.
It went up for 3 seasons, Sal.
I know. I know. I looked it up. I heard nothing from anybody that I check sources from about Runaways, and I heard from the audience that they liked Cloak and Dagger. Like, the people enjoyed it. I never watched either of them because at that point I knew that it wasn't connected.
Yeah,
What's ironic is that Runaways and Cloak and Dagger, I think, reference each other.
Right, they're connected as their own Marvel young adult television series in 2019.
Yes.
So Runaways
right.
started in 2017, and then in 2018 was Cloak and Dagger, and that was supposed to build up a young adult, like early tweens
Defenders-esque universe.
Yeah. And that since that's what the demographic was, that was the big reason I didn't watch any of it. Because I'm like, look, I have plenty of things to watch and do right now. This is back when Sal and I were probably hitting up like a con every 2 months. Like,
Yep.
we just didn't have time to keep up with these shows. So
No. I also remember they referenced Daredevil in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There's this like a TV, and it has like a news ticker, and it says something about like Hell's Kitchen on fire, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, come on.
Fun fact, though, apparently Cloak and Dagger was announced in 2011.
Wow.
It took until 2018 to get it out there.
Good Lord. And by that point, they knew they're like, we're only going to get like 2 seasons out of this, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last of the shows, I find it funny that Legion's not listed here, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But
yeah.
The Hulu attempt actually apparently got called something. It was called the Adventure into Fear franchise. And it was going
Classic.
And it was going to feature, after the cancellation of Marvel's Netflix, before Disney Plus's announcement, Hulu ordered their own series and labeled it Adventure into Fear. It was going to be the reboot of Ghost Rider.
Yep.
Which they have listed as reprising his role. So maybe it was going to be one of those like reboot, linked, you make the call.
Soft reboot.
Yeah. And Hellstrom.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider was dropped during development. Hellstrom came out in October 2020, which I remember coming out.
I remember coming out and then not watching it.
Yeah.
And I heard that I didn't miss anything.
From what I understand, it was just like it was already so far along, they just finished it and put it out.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then, of course, we have Legion, which is my favorite of these like weird spin-off Marvel attempts at making a Marvel Cinematic Universe TV series.
Right.
Because Legion was... What made that bump noise? There's no cat in here. I have a ghost. Anyway. Yeah, Legion was interesting because they took the idea of Legion and referenced the X-Men as much as they could. Yep. Like, that was what I loved about that. Without referencing the X-Men.
Yes. Yeah, you constantly were like, oh... Nah.
Yeah.
Legion was a good show, though, too. Like, Legion was a genuinely good show.
It was, which is weird that they never attempted to roll it into anything. It's not even listed as a Marvel property.
No. What's interesting, I remember when Legion launched, they also, like, they did something different with the Marvel logo where it was, like, more in line with, like, Marvel. Maybe it was one of the first things that said in association with Marvel or something like that. But they were like, we're doing a thing. Like, we're working something out. And I was like, oh, and it didn't do anything. It didn't go anywhere.
In January 2016, the series was set to be in a universe parallel to the X-Men films. Mm-hmm. And Marvel referenced Legion as one of the several characters joining the MCU, suggesting that Legion would be set in a shared universe with the other television series.
Right.
The next month, Bryan Singer said that Legion was actually designed to fit into the X-Men universe, but as a standalone, so you wouldn't have to label it. So basically, no one knew what they wanted to do with it. They were just like, well, it's a success. What do we do with it now? Like, we didn't say X-Men or Marvel.
That's exactly what it is. Also, what about The Gifted? The Gifted was another
forgot
X-Men
about
TV
that.
series.
What happened to that?
Yeah, nothing. It got canceled after 2 seasons, but it did its thing. And it was another one where it was like it was from 20th Century Fox TV, so it was obviously like it was connected only to the X-Men franchise, no Marvel Cinematic Universe connection whatsoever. It's just X-Men. And it was part of that like pantheon of X-Men movies and shows that just create their own diverging timelines. Like X-Men 3, Days of Future Past, X-Men Origins Wolverine, Deadpool, Legion, Gifted. Like none of these things line up.
Exactly.
Old Man Logan.
It's funny. Yeah, everyone was attempting to push out Marvel properties, and then eventually they just said, you know what, all of it goes into Legacy. We're done with that.
Which I think is a great way to do it.
And I think that's the plan. I think it's just there's some casualties in there, but I think Marvel's just like, call it Legacy, do what we want to do.
Yes.
Kevin Feige's like, I have control now.
Exactly. I have the X-Men now. I'm going to do all kinds of stuff with that. And we're going to spin off from our point, not from these points. Because it's just, you have to bank on, did you watch Gifted? Did you watch Legion? Do you know who these, like, no. Like, just introduce the characters. If the actor was great, bring the actor back. But tenuous at best connection to the original source material and move on.
Yeah. All right, well, that's our opinion on that situation and the discussion of these shows.
People keep talking about MODOK, too. We should also mention MODOK.
Well, it's not out yet, so I was going to leave it alone.
It's not out yet, but it was in development with the Hulu. Out of all the Hulu shows, I think MODOK was one of the few that actually got made.
Oh, kind of like what happened with Hellstrom, where it got made, so it's out. Exactly. I'm excited for MODOK just because we don't have anything really making fun of the Marvel Universe from the MCU brand. Yeah. And MODOK, I know it's in that weird kind of middle ground, but it is from the MCU, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it won't be connected to the MCU at all. It's not like no one's going to reference MODOK in the movies. It's just it's just their own robot chicken. Okay.
Yeah. But the Deadpool show got canceled and everything else got canceled. So anything that wasn't made is done.
Yes.
So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode of Absolutely Marvel and DC. This discussion was all about the old shows and what we missed out on, and hope you enjoyed it as much as we did talking about it. Don't forget to stick around to the channel. More content coming out very soon, and we'll see you next time right here at the Absolutely Marvel and DC YouTube channel and the Comic Story Podcast Network here on Twitch. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.